And you're welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the 75th anniversary rundown on the Divine Mercy Radio Television of the Diocese of BUEA. Tomorrow, activities, the year-long activities marking the 75th anniversary of the Diocese of BUEA will be launched with a pontifical mass that will take place at the Divine Mercy Co-Cathedral beginning at 9 a.m. to be presided over by the Bishop of the Diocese of BUEA, Most Reverend Michael Bibi. And today we are going to be talking about the activities that will be taking place tomorrow. Then in a special way, we'll be talking about our catechists, the catechists who have been serving in the Diocese of BUEA for quite a while, since the beginning of the church in the Diocese of BUEA. And today our topic will be the importance and relevance of the work of our catechists to the spread of the faith and the church in the Diocese of BUEA. Pope Francis established the ministry of catechists in the apostolic letter Antiquum Ministerium on the 11th of May 2021. And catechists are the reference for Christians in the parishes and in small communities, since they live in close contact with them and they animate Sunday celebrations when the priests are not available. And it should also be noted that when the Germans left Cameroon following the outbreak of the First World War in 1914, the German Palatine Fathers left. The growth of the Catholic Church west of the Mongol was piloted by a team of dedicated catechists who were the principal actors of the church at that time. And we should note that we had the great Sango Matthias Ephraim, who served as a catechist between 1891 and 1976. He was the principal actor in the drama of the priestless years, that is, the time when the German fathers left Cameroon following the First World War. In Cameroon and other countries, each time there is a crisis, catechists always remain on the spot, even when priests and religious have to leave for security reasons. They give proof of their faith despite the danger and persecution they sometimes face. And that is why the church describes catechists as the cooperators of the priestly order. Compare Lumen Gentium, paragraph 30. We'll be talking about catechists today, the work that the catechists are doing in our parishes, that they have been doing in our parishes for the past 75 years, and the work that our catechists are going to continue to do. This is the 75th anniversary rundown. Stay tuned. I will be back. You are welcome back, and just the right time for us to introduce to you our panelists tonight, those who will be with us before the end of the program at 9 p.m. We will be talking about catechists from now until 9 p.m. We have with us Reverend Father Theophil Seka, who is the pastoral director of the Diocese of BUEA and also the chaplain of catechists. Father, good evening and you're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, and good evening to all our televiewers.
We also have on the program today Mr. James Efo, or Catechist James Efo, who has served as a catechist for a very long time in the Diocese of BUEA. Catechist, you are welcome.
Father, thank you. Good evening, and good evening to all the viewers of Divine Mercy Radio Television. It's a pleasure to be here once more.
Last but not the least, we have with us also Catechist Cletus Kum, the catechist serving in St. Charles Luanga Parish, Moliko. You are welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Father. It is my pleasure to be here and want to thank the viewers for watching Divine Mercy Television.
And we must begin by noting that the church remains so grateful. We are sincerely grateful to the work that catechists continue to do in the church. They are close to the Christians and they are able to cooperate with the priests to ensure that the needs of the Christians are met. And I would just like to find out from Catechist James A4, who has served as a catechist a long time. Maybe you just tell us how long you have served as a catechist and how you feel carrying out this delicate task.
Thank you very much, Father. I've been in the Diocese of BUEA for the past 40 years as a catechist. And doing the work of a catechist is a vocation. It's not just work, but it's a vocation, the call from God. And it's very enriching to serve God. Despite the challenges, it's wonderful to serve God.
And we have our diocese that will be celebrating 75 years in the months ahead, and the activities are beginning tomorrow. The year-long activities are beginning tomorrow. Catechiscum, 75 years since the creation of the Diocese of BUEA. Can we say that the catechists have been playing their own part in the mission of the church here in BUEA?
Yeah, I want to say that the catechists, they have been playing their own part as far as the mission of the Diocese of BUEA is concerned. Just like you said during the introduction that after the First World War, the church was left in the hands of the catechists, and so they had to continue with the work to see into it that Christianity continued to grow from strength to strength. So I want to think that since from then up to this present moment, the catechists have been doing their own little best to see that the church continues to grow from strength to strength.
Father, this program is coming up just 2 days before the catechists have a very important meeting with the bishop, the annual General Assembly meeting of the catechists of the Diocese of BUEA with the bishop, which will be coming up on the 19th of April 2000. That's Friday, the 19th of April. Looking at the work the catechists have been doing, and is it giving the catechists the pride of place just the day after the launching of the activities? Are the catechists mature already to the point that we can say 75 years we have catechists who know what they have to do and who are doing it? Can we say that at this moment, Father?
Yes, thank you, Father Solomon Lyonga, for giving the possibility to share and to edify, especially the catechists who serve in the Diocese of BUEA, for their enormous sacrifices. And like you rightly mentioned, I think it is providential that immediately after the launching of the 75th anniversary activities for the Diocese of BUEA, the very first official gathering and evaluation of agents of evangelization who are catechists, Pope St. John Paul II, we call them lay apostles, is fundamental. Why? Because you asked about the quality of catechists that we have today. Going down memory lane, you will realize that like you mentioned, the great lay apostle Sango Matthias, AFM, who actually piloted the affairs, especially as far as catechism is concerned, after the 1914 events and the departure of the Germans. I will tell you today, once we evaluate from the formation that is given to the catechist, from the famous Nguti trained catechist, today in the Diocese of BUEA we have Jopasit, Pope St. John Paul II Theological Institute that trains them, and if things went the way they were programmed and planned, effectively on the 19th we should have had the graduation from the formation by the catechist. However, whatever God does is good, but I would want to assure you that the catechists of the Diocese of BUEA are very much trained and are abreast with all what it takes to become a catechist. And away from their services, I think the catechists today, with the formation and the follow-up, are very much aware of their place in the church. And I think the dedication and the commitment in our own times is growing from strength to strength. And so, as co-workers, you rightly mentioned, catechists are not only people who are there to ring the bell. I'm sure we'll go there. They are not only people who are there as sacristans. They are not only people who are there for sacraments, but above all, pastorally, catechists are also, from the administrative perspective, are also the presidents of their very levels. You know, it could be mission stations, it could be parishes, and you can move on. And so, in other words, we are saying, after the parish priest and the curate, in terms of administration, it is the catechist as a reference point. And so you can understand why the catechists in the 1914s took their place and their work, and we can be able to say the strength has grown from the faith has grown from strength to strength. And on the eve of the launching of the 75th anniversary, I think it is right and fitting that we talk about catechists, their work, their categories, and what they have to offer to the church, as a local church.
Father Theophile, pastoral director of the Diocese of BUEA, 75 years of the Diocese of BUEA, and looking at our catechists, can we confidently say they are well formed in line with what canon law says? Of course, canon 785 paragraph 1 says catechists are to be 785 paragraph 2 says catechists are to be formed. They are to be given the opportunity to be formed in schools designated for this purpose. We of BUEA, we are celebrating our catechists. It is part of the celebrations marking the meeting that will be coming up on Friday. Is part of the celebrations marking the 75th anniversary. So at this moment, can we say our catechists have received the right formation?
I will assure you, Father Solomon, and all the viewers of DMR TV, that our catechists, as I speak to you, are very, very much abreast, not only with church doctrine, but with church administration. Why do I say this? Following a more organized and apt program for the training of catechists by the Pope St. John Paul II Institute of Theology, JOPASIT, for the Diocese of BUEA, the catechists have undergone what we call residentials. An opportunity where, in the course of 2 years, they have undergone in each session the formation in all aspects of church life, be it church history, be it liturgy, be it doctrine, be it canon law, and all what it takes to become a catechist. And so I can assure you that the catechists of the Diocese of BUEA are not like any other catechists, but with the completion of their formation, especially with the team from Bamenda that came for the ECOS program, I bet you the material that we have as catechists today is ready for the task.
Father, it is true that the catechists have a significant place in the church, but unfortunately there are those who feel that we have always limited the work of catechists to ringing the bell, ringing the church bell, lighting the altar candle, and doing permit me to use the word boy, just running behind the priest. So, but Pope Francis made it clear in 2021, following the apostolic letter Antiquum Ministerium, that this is an ancient ministry in the church, a very important ministry. I want to turn to you, Catechist. Have you ever felt I don't know, belittled by the way maybe Christians sometimes look at you performing your task as a catechist?
Well, I felt that way time and again, and I think that is just but normal, because not everybody understands the importance of a catechist at the level of a mission station or a parish. And so because of that, just like you rightly said, some feel that no, a catechist is just the one who comes and ring the bell, or maybe the one that just come and lead morning prayers, and then maybe like the messenger to the priest. And so time and again you find them saying the things that sometimes you look at yourself as if what you are doing is insignificant, because sometimes maybe a priest tells a Christian that no, go and meet this catechist for this, and then we find a Christian saying that catechist to now who. So you find that at some moments as if what you are doing is insignificant per se, but like some of us, we are always stood up to the task. We are proud of what we are doing. We are proud of what we are doing because from nowhere God called us to be where we are. And so looking at ourselves and then looking at the kind of Christians or the population that we are called to deal with, we feel that no, it's an enormous task. And so what are we called to do? We are called to stand up to what we are called to do and do it with a lot of, we pride in us. We are happy doing the work because we know that God is the one who has called us to do that work.
Catechist James A4, you have served as a catechist for 40 years plus, and what exactly does the catechist do?
Thank you, Father. To take from where the last speaker ended, some people feel that the catechist is someone who is idle, jobless. All you do is come ring the bell, open the church door, and that's it. But no, I don't blame them. It's ignorance. Or maybe some Christians are presented that way. That's why some Christians look at them that way. Because as a catechist, you know your role. You are convinced of what you are supposed to do. And how you present yourself. From what you do every day, the Christian body come to understand, recognize, and value what you do. First is understand who you are, what you are supposed to do, and how you love your work. Because some people being a catechist, you are the last poorest person in the community or in the society. You may be poor in terms of money and all of that, but then what to do, you are serving God. And serving God, I don't think you are being poor in serving God. Serving God is the greatest you can do. They can sacrifice your time, to listen to the Christians, maybe marriage preparation, prepare the catechumens, people coming for counseling. There's a lot of the catechist does. It's not just a question of ringing the bell and so on and so forth.
We had the example of Sango Matthias Efiem. Can we say that we still have among us some catechists who can of course handle the church like Sango Matthias Efiem did, because he was a catechist par excellence? Do we still have such catechists? Because there are also those who feel that you talked about the catechist, the work of the catechist, it's a vocation. There are also those who have the misconception that maybe when they come in, they should have a comfortable life. It should be or they want to serve in a big parish. So can we say that we have catechists in BUEA diocese in the likeness of Sango Matthias Efiem?
Father, thank you for that question. It's very important. As Father Tifirali said, following the formation that the Christians are undergoing in BUEA diocese, I have no doubt that the Christians in BUEA diocese are committed to their work. They are following the footsteps of those very dedicated catechists, people like Paefio we're talking about, people like Lepa, Queen of Econa, and the others. The catechists are committed and they stand by their work. For example, Temi Sakom is a young man and very committed. And many others in the diocese, being the mission station or parishes, they are they know what they are supposed to do and they are there.
Father, the pastoral director, we have had unfortunate situations of misunderstanding, maybe conflict between catechists and maybe Christians, and then catechists and even some priests. How are these conflicts sometimes handled at the level of your office?
Yes, of course. I will tell you, conflicts and misunderstandings are human. Where you find people with diverse ways of looking at things, with diverse mentalities and diverse experiences and expectations, conflict sometimes might come. And the Diocese of BUEA is not the exception for conflicts between catechists and priests, catechists and the laity. So it is not an understatement to say that conflicts are part and parcel of human existence and community living. However, the difference is in the way we manage conflicts. And most of the time, like you mentioned, one of the difficulties in handling conflicts between especially catechists and priests is the fact of the tight positions that the both camps have. don't need these services again. I don't need sometimes in the heat of frustration, sometimes catechists are treated badly, and I think it's an occasion, especially on the eve of the launching of the 75th anniversary, sincerely on behalf of the pastoral ministry of the Diocese of BUEA, to sincerely apologize to all the catechists who have felt unjustly treated,
that their services have
not been treated properly by hierarchy, either by priests or collaborators. But also to mention that dialogue is always the best way out of problems. And sometimes where there is no dialogue, then it is difficult to find a common ground for resolution of crisis, I call it. But I also want to mention that the problem might not necessarily be priests, because I'm talking from the office. I get the details sometimes of the level at which sometimes catechists are not serious, and especially with the job. If you go to the policy for the Diocese of BUEA as far as catechists are concerned, you will realize that there is a lot mentioned about the work of catechists. But I want to mention here that the policies for the Diocese of BUEA, the section especially on the catechists, is very clear on which catechists we are dealing with. In the Diocese of BUEA, once you go to that policy, you will realize that the diocese distinguishes at the level of category and training, talks about Guti trained, talks about Jopasit Omerivel, and then talks about experience, which means that for you to be considered a catechist in the Diocese of BUEA, you are either fulfilling any of these criteria. 2, any of these criteria without bias has the possibility to be enrolled and employed as full-time by the diocese. And so with the training that we are continuing to underline, and we thank especially the first catechist, who is His Excellency Bishop Michael Bibi, who is the first catechist by example, and the first catechist by following up the catechist and ensuring that they are well trained. He has struggled to make sure that there is a policy for the protection of the right and responsibility of catechists.
Father, and we if we talk about these conflicts, sometimes also the conflicts are there because when we fail to also ask God to intervene. I mean, when we have prayerful catechists, I think it is also going to help, because that is what the Christians want to see. The catechists also, they are agents of evangelization, and they are also kind of models to the Christians, because they are a step ahead of the Christians. So can we say in our diocese we have established a spirituality? It's true we have a policy for catechists, but is there a kind of spirituality for catechists, for our catechists?
Okay, just for reference to history, the catechists of the Diocese of BUEA have always had their annual retreats. And so it is not only about work and the ministry of catechists, but also making sure that in as much as policy assures, protects, and ensures that the rights and responsibilities of catechists are well guaranteed, also from the spiritual aspect. And that's why in one of the nomenclatures that you gave me, it was not only about pastoral director, you said also chaplain to the catechist, which means that the spiritual accompaniment of the catechist is assured by my mandate as chaplain. And before I came in, there was Father Peter Paul Maza, who actually accompanied them as chaplain. And if the chaplaincy and the pastoral office follows them up, is to be able to ensure that there's a balance between policy and spirituality. And that's why it is important that this office, I get the awareness that it is a very, very delicate task that is entrusted to me. And so I can assure you that it's not only about policies affirming, guaranteeing the rights and responsibility of catechists, but it's also about their spiritual welfare. And so in the Diocese of BUEA, at the various deaneries, they have deanery catechist meetings, they have deanery recollections, and even in the various parishes, they have their own meetings and how they sort out themselves. But for the fact that one of the duties of the catechist is also to lead the people of God spiritually, there is no way a catechist can be able to give what he doesn't have. And those you mentioned, Mr. James before mentioned about counseling, mentioned about accompaniment in marriage formation. And so all catechists, they are aware, and the clarion call is first of all to be a catechist who is a catechist on your knees, and then from there you will understand better your vocation as catechist before your job as catechist.
I think it is Pope St. Paul VI who made it clear that the world today does not need teachers and preachers.
Yes.
But if the world listens to teachers, because the catechists are teachers, if the world listens to teachers, it is because they are first of all witnesses.
Yes.
So I think the catechists know that, and they must make the effort to live exemplary lives, because the Christians are watching at them. It will be very difficult for a Christian to accept that you, the catechist, should teach him or hard doctrine, marriage doctrine, if that Christian knows that you yourself, you are not living that vocation properly. And at the time when we have a kind of there's a crisis, because we can say crisis of vocation, even in life, affecting the life of the catechist, maybe the ministry of the catechist in the church. Very few people are interested to become catechists today. How can we make this ministry, Father, how can we make this ministry appear in a positive light? And how can we make people to see the need to offer themselves in service to the church as catechists?
Now, one of the things, like you mentioned, Pope Francis actually mentioned in the motto proprio, introducing the ministry of a catechist, he says that it is not something that is coming when he spoke. It's something that has been an old age tradition in the church. And even he mentions that catechists are considered as teachers, especially when you look at the content and the context of Corinth. And two, he mentions that like the men, and there are laymen and women who are called, men is a vocation, to assist in the task of catechesis. And Pope St. Paul the Seed in Evangelii Nuntiandi, that is announcing the gospel, he about the agents of evangelization. If you go in the agents of evangelization, Pope Paul the Seed says that, of course, the bishop is the first and foremost catechist in his diocese, assisted by priests, assisted by deacons, consecrated men and women, and then lay catechists. And so these are men and women who must first of all accept that they have something to contribute to the growth and the spread of the gospel by virtue of their baptism. Then they are called. And you did mention that one of the crises in having catechists today is the difficulty to balance of vocation and profession. That's fundamental, because a young man or a young woman will tell you, how do I survive from being a catechist? And that is the fundamental question that the policies for the Diocese of BUEA, when it comes to catechists, is doing its best to solve the puzzle, profession, vocation. And so we will advise and we continue to encourage the catechists, like Jesus says, all what we do on this earth, if we forget the goal for which we do, then we will concentrate more on profession and lose the value of the vocation. And like I always encourage catechists and say, the church cannot pay you for your work. The church cannot pay you because what they do, we cannot quantify and be able to qualify to pay them. But what the church does is assure the stipend and the minimum that is necessary to be able to function properly. And so for me, young people through this media should understand that it is possible to be a catechist and still, make it in life. Why? Because with God, everything is possible. Two, there are already policies that help to guarantee the minimum wage rate, which there are certain occupations and jobs in Cameroon which do not even have, despite government insistence on the policy and the level of the law as far as the minimum wage rate is concerned. And so as far as the catechist, and that's why when you go to the policy, it talks about full-time catechist, which means it's a full job with a job description. And then these catechists are employed by the diocese. And then you go to part-time that are employed by the parish, which means that it's a contract between the parish and the particular individual. And then we have voluntary catechists that say, for my love for God and love for the job and for the work of evangelization, I offer my services to spread the gospel. And so we are at 3 levels. And so we must be able to distinguish in terms of profession and service these 3 categories, so that we can be able to also attach the remuneration to these services. And so the diocese says, once you are a full-time catechist, the policy says it clearly. In terms of insurance, if you are within the age of registration, the diocese employs you and makes sure that you are registered with the same pairs, the social insurance fund. If you are already above, because the policy did not exist, once you go on retirement, there is a certain 2% of your last month's salary that is calculated times the number of years that you have served the diocese. And then the diocese also, as a sort of appreciation, does what we call a lump sum calculation, that you are given a certain amount to support you in your retirement.
Father, from what you have just made us to understand, we see clearly that the Diocese of BUEA is doing much to take care of the catechists, especially the full-time catechists. But we still know that the catechists are making a very big sacrifice. We still know, because what they receive in the end is just a kind of appreciation. So I want to turn to catechist James A4, Papa James A4. The life of the catechist is not easy. It is not easy, and we know it. You have coped for 40 years. Any regrets? How have you been able to go through these 40 years in spite of the challenges that you face as a catechist?
Thank you very much, Father. There's no regret from the bottom of my heart, to be very honest. Working as a catechist with priests is a wonderful experience. As Father said, conflicts is part of our human existence. And so that conflict comes because we fail to recognize the place of each other. Because if you are the parish priest, I must recognize you are the parish priest. You are the priest, a catechist is not a priest, but the priest is a catechist. And sometimes, in the case you want to do the work of a priest or a parish priest, there is bound to be conflict. It is very important for people to recognize that the priest is in charge. That the priest will direct you are a collaborator with the priest. And once you understand this, and that we are different, we are unique, we come from different background, different temperament, and all of that. And once you understand this and recognize the place of the priest, and you know your role as a catechist, conflict can always be managed. And therefore, if you know what to do, as for me, per se, for this number of years, I have no regrets. I work with, the Mihi priests, the Assistant priests, religious priests. I have no regret. It's wonderful. Once you know your role and you play it, there's no conflict.
And what about the support from the Christians? The Christians are aware that they have to support, the prayers that the catechists themselves teach the Christians, and even the laws of the church. Hello, Bishop or Father.
Sometimes
the catechist is there to remind the Christians to support the priest, the bishop, and then no one thinks of the catechist. Sometimes it's like that, but how have you survived? I mean, in a church that the Christians need to still be taught, because our Christians too are young. It's a young church, so our Christians still need to be taught to support their catechists. How have you survived relating with the Christians?
I want to say, using this platform to thank the Christians. They're wonderful, because the Christians, they are there. They are wonderful. They're ready to support you once they're able to recognize what you do.
Okay.
If you are hardworking and sincere, the Christians will always come to your aid. What are you asking for? The people will come to you and say, "Catechist, take this." "Catechist, Ashia, take this." Without you necessarily asking. But if you listen around, you don't know what to do, then they begin to doubt what you are up to. But when you know your job and you do it, you are committed, you are open, you are sincere, the Christians are always ready to support. And it's going to say, the many priests they are very supportive of the catechist. What they bring, to the priest, is not just to the priest alone. The priest says, hey, my Christian community is a catechist. Please, Mr. Catechist, come. Today's sermon, wash your shirt. So, the Christians are wonderful. I admire them. And I continue to pray and encourage them to keep on, assisting the catechists by, what they do.
And you said one thing there, that the Christians see. They see the work that the catechists do, and the catechists are doing a lot. Even what you do in terms of teaching their kids doctrine, that is a very big service, a service that is not paid for. It is free of charge. And so we want to say that we appreciate the support Christians give to our catechists, where the Christians are not still in places where that support is not coming forward. We want to say we encourage, we plead with the Christians to support their catechists, especially because they are always there. They are always there. Because sometimes there are catechists who are, it seems they are there 24 on 24. 24 on 24. So in spite of the challenges, the catechists are there, and we are seeing what they are doing. And for the catechists who are also they want to be appreciated, or they feel that no, they are not being appreciated enough for what they are doing, I think they should keep on doing the work as per James 8:4 indicated, because once you do your work well, God will always bring people to support you. At this point, we can take a very short break. When we come back, we will continue with the program, the 75th anniversary rundown. We'll be talking about the launching of the year-long activities marking the 75th anniversary of the Diocese of BUEA. Stay tuned. I am Father Solomon Lyonga Ikunzi. You are still tuned to the Divine Mercy Radio Television of the Diocese of BUEA, and we are talking about our catechists today, the importance and the relevance of the work of catechists to the spread of the faith and the church in the Diocese of BUEA. Just to know that tomorrow we'll be having the launching of the 75th anniversary. Mass will be at the Divine Mercy Co-Cathedral in Moliko, starting at exactly 9 a.m. to be presided over by the Bishop of the Diocese of BUEA, Most Reverend Michael Bibi. And now we continue talking about our catechists. The diocese has been doing a lot to train our catechists, to support them as they do their work, because they are part of the agents of evangelization. Now, Father, coming back to you, I don't know, can we say without any fear of contradiction that the church is supporting the catechists are receiving sufficient support that, can permit them, because when you talk about the full-time catechists, they are there full-time. Is the church giving them support that can permit them to also run their families and be able to take care of themselves?
Father Solomon, I assure you, we are a grown church, and with our history of evangelization, 75 years running down, we still have other issues, and part of our issues are actually the welfare of catechists. And so 75 years after, we cannot also claim to be a church that is so autonomous as to resolve all the problems of catechists. However, we recognize, even at the level of the province, that a lot is being done as far as catechists are concerned. I can give you a few examples. If I come back to the Diocese of BUEA, the policy says that in terms of appreciation, once a year there should be Catechist Appreciation Day, which means that if this day is well mobilized, great things can be done for the catechists. And so I want to remind especially the priest or those in charge of the welfare of catechists to understand that following their pastoral calendar, drawn of all the activities for the pastoral year 2024, there must be a date that is inserted in their activity as Catechist Appreciation Sunday. Which means that if parishes are serious, Christians are well mobilized, and this day comes to pass, I bet you this will put very many great smiles on the faces of catechists. And so, than to go on, the policy doesn't say once some Sunday comes, we do catechist collection. What really comes out of catechist collection? How is it even managed? And so I think that as the policy prescribes, Catechist Appreciation Day needs to be mobilized as we have mobilized for our harvest, as we mobilize for the birthday of our priest, as we modify for any parish feast. We need sensitization, and I call on all the parish councils to take this as a very clarion call to be able to mobilize for this day. We are the verge of the 75th anniversary of the celebration of a faith that was handed over and actually guaranteed and safeguarded by catechists. And so I call on all the parish councils with their parish priest at all levels, supervised by the deans, to be able to make sure that this indication by the policy, Catechist Appreciation Day, should be done in a very grandiose style.
We have had two messages. That have come in. The first message is from Catechist Eric Nge, who is following this program live from Munyenge. That is from St. Dominic's Parish, Munyenge. He says, good evening to you all in the studio. I am watching you live from Munyenge, and I'm looking forward to the AGM meeting with the bishop. So he's following us from Munyenge. And this one is a question that has just come in, and this question is directed to the pastoral director, the chaplain of the catechist. Unfortunately, the person has not given us his name. The question is, Father, you talk a lot about full-time catechists. What about the volunteers and the part-time catechists? What about their own allowance?
Okay. I think that we have to learn to make distinctions. We are in administration, and we are at the same time, in pastoral. Once the policy has indicated to us the category in which every catechist finds his or herself in terms of qualification and efficiency and productivity, one of the great mentors that validates who becomes a full-time and who is not a full-time, one, the individual concern. Somebody can have his full job and can only be available to serve the church when he or she is free. That's why we call them voluntary. Two, part-time means that I have some other job that takes my time and energy, but I have some other spare time that I can be able to give the church and be of help and service in all what we have talked about as services of catechist. Full-time means that this is my job.
So it means that a full-time catechist must not have another job?
Must not have, depending on the arrangement that he has with his pastor. For example, if I need you in the office from 8 to 12, who is going to employ you with everyday absences from 8 to 12? And who is going to employ you with giving you the possibility of being absent or being present only between break time, which is 1 to 3, and then you are back to the office 3 to 6 or 4 to 6? There is nobody who's going to employ you given that type of employment. And so full-time means that I am busy and I have taken it up as a vocation, but at the same time as a profession. That's the distinction to make. Two, a full-time within the space that I'm supposed to be full-time. If I am in the office every day and I realize that from experience I only have visits to my office like 1 hour between 8 and 9 because of the context which I find myself, and after 9 everybody is going to the farm, and I talk over with my employer and my pastor, and I say I want to occupy myself between 9 and that 3 and I'm back, and we are all d'accord, I'm a full-time. So it is not as if full-time means I am tied to these office hours. That is the ideal. But it can happen that in these office hours nobody comes in the office hours. Are you going to vegetate in the office hours? So programming of pastoral activities. If father says, okay, instead of office work you are going to accompany me to visitation of the sick, then it means that you can't do anything else. And that's why we are encouraging that what the policy puts in place, if we follow, then we'll avoid a lot of conflicts. Two, I want to get back to our viewer to be able to say that the purpose of Catechist Appreciation Day is to give value to their services. Which means that Catechist Appreciation Day is not only for the full time. Once we have this, we put our parish resources together, and then we call the catechist, and then we see exactly to what proportion or what percentage are we going to do this appreciation, depending on what we put in as service. And so if everybody were going to take the principle and apply it, then you realize that we will very much ameliorate the living standard and life of catechists.
Father, you talk about this catechist basket.
Yes, appreciation day.
The catechist basket.
Yes.
How often should this collection be done?
The policy tells us that the parishes and the parish priests should organize a day which gives weight. Now, the practice might be in some parishes you have third basket, fourth basket, catechist collection. How much really comes out of this catechist collection? That is where the fundamental question is. And that is why we are trying to do a sort of education and changing of our mentality so that Catechist Appreciation Day should be something that has weight in our diocese. And I am sure if the catechists are celebrated, the way they put themselves in their work and in their vocation is going to be different. Secondly, it is not only about catechist appreciation. Once you go to the policy, you realize that for full-time catechists, they give them a certain attention as far as their children are concerned. Now, this is what the policy says. That for the catechists who are full-time, you have your biological children who are given in some sort a scholarship. How? All your biological children, if you are here in Station BUEA, and there is a primary school, which is just a stone throw, all your biological children should school in that school. If you think that your biological children should go to, I don't know, the excellence, what the church can do for you is calculate the school fees of every Catholic institution and pay you. And then you struggle to see how to top it up to make up the level of excellence. Within 1 kilo, the precision is within 1 kilometer. And so if you choose that you want government nursing school, the school fees is 50,000 and our own is 29 or 31.5 or 28.5, we will calculate 21.5 and give you as a full catechist. You know, and so the same. And so as far as insurance is concerned, we have spoken about our health. And if the parish is viable and is able to have a catechist house like BUEA Town has, where Mr. James Efo stays and he serves. So I think that the church in the province and in our diocese, we are trying. And many parishes do have catechist houses. And that is one of the things to underline here is also, once we are stressing on your rights, also know that you have responsibilities. And I think it is also a clarion call to the catechist to realize that once your term of office is over or your mandate, pack out of that catechist house and give the chance to the next brother or next sister who has to take on that task.
And we turn now to catechist Cletus Kum. Catechist, as a catechist serving in St. Charles Luanga Parish, concretely, what are some of the challenges catechists in the Diocese of BUEA face, and what can be done to make the life and the mission of catechists more enjoyable?
I want to think that Father Theophile has already elaborated on so much as far as the lives of the catechists is concerned. When we talk about challenges that we have already made mention, we see that, like I earlier made mention, that one of the challenges that we as catechists we have is that some of us are not really recognized by some Christians. They feel that no, you are down there, maybe you don't even have that qualification to do anything, and so you just feel that you just come and ring the bell, you are there because there's no other thing that you can do. So it's really a challenge. And so one of the things that some of us have done is that we try as much as possible to encourage the other catechists, let them be able to do what? To go to school. So that when they too stand in the midst of other people and then in the course of a conversation, they too can be able to interact without any great difficulty. And because when they're able to do that, they will know that, no, hey, the way this man talks or the way this particular person talks, it shows that, no, this person is what? And is educated. Because sometimes you find some catechists in some areas when people are expressing themselves in English, they're only struggling in pidgin, or sometimes they just prefer to stay quiet because they find it difficult to do what, to respond to or to interact with somebody because they feel that, no, they are not educated. So it's really, it had been a challenge that some catechists have been facing, that we encourage them to do what, to go to school. Like, we live in a modern society nowadays where people go to school and they learn many things. We have so many denominations out there, and their priority is just to do what, to challenge those of us who are in the Catholic Church. Sometimes they will ask you suddenly, where is this one found in the Bible? Imagine that you're a catechist that is not well learned per se. You discover that it's difficult for you to be able to maybe answer to some of those questions that are being asked. So those are some of the challenges that catechists are facing, and which we encourage them that no one, they should be able to work and come out of it. Like some of us, we can stand somewhere and then we talk and maybe talk fluently. It's just because every day we make that effort to do what? To see that we learn. I want to take a practical example here. Like when sometimes people bring mass intentions and then I see a name that I'm not so familiar with that particular name, I will ask the person, how do they pronounce this name? I remember one time a Christian had to offer me 2,000 francs. Then no, take me and buy something for yourself because the way you pronounce his name is as if you come from this village. But the reason behind it was that before I could go and read that particular intention, I'd ask how they pronounce that particular name. So that next time when such a name is coming up or something is coming up like that, you because you already you have learned something, then you are able to do to grow from there. And talking about what can be done to be able to assist catechists, I think Father Theophile has already said, the diocese is already doing its own part to say that they assist the catechists, let the catechists should be able to live well. And like Mr. James also said, when you do your work and you do it very well, people will see, they will appreciate it. You don't need to do what, you don't need to tell people that, no, I'm doing this or I'm doing that. They are the ones who see it, and then when they see, they will call you sometime, and then I begin to tell you that, no, we are seeing the work that you are doing. Keep on. You find sometime you may get up without what, as a prayerful catechist, you get up sometime, you don't even know whether you will have what food for that day. But after maybe a morning mass, a Christian walks up to you and says, no, just take this one and then and buy a piece of bread. You see that you have already solved a problem in your family for that particular day. And also, catechists, for me, I feel that they should keep on working. Like Father Theophile said, every day as a human being we need more. So the bishop is all doing what he's doing, and so we keep on praying that as the years are going by, something should be added to what the catechists are having, so that they can be able to live a more better life.
Catechists Kumia in St. Charles Luanga Parish in Moliko, one of the biggest parishes in the Diocese of BUEA. What will you tell a young man who feels that maybe the life of the catechist is easy, or who feels that the life of, because Father listed a series of advantages that the catechist have in the diocese. So what will you tell a young man who feels that the life of the catechist is an easy way to make quick money?
Yeah, I want to say that the life of a catechist is not an easy one to make money per se. Coming back to what Mr. James, catechist James F. said earlier, you just have to work hard. You know that first of all, it is a sacrifice, and it's not a money-making venture. If you are coming because of that vocation. You are coming to come and serve God. If you take money to be the principal thing, then the devil means that you fail. The day that the money will not be there, what happens is that what you will go away. I take an example like Moliko there. I have struggled sometimes to corner some young people to say, no, let us try to see that we do this thing together. The first thing is, how much they will pay me. Yeah. I said, no, this thing that I'm doing like that, it is not for money. At the end of the day, anything that comes, I will take it. They said, no, now only when I fit do that kind of work. I will tell them that, no, I have been doing this thing over the years, and I discovered I have just become part and parcel of me. It's all like, for example, now, even if we were to live here at 12 midnight, once it is 4 a.m., sleep clears from my eyes. If I don't go to the church, then I feel sick. because it has become part and parcel of me. So we young people, they should look at it and know it is a journey. It's something that you begin from somewhere, you grow from it gradually. It's not just what you are coming and then now you come and make money. No, it's not the public service where maybe when you are being employed, you know that you are placed under maybe category A1, A2, B1, B2, C or D, and you know that with this category, this is my minimum salary. No, with the catechist, you begin from somewhere.
Maybe we go back to Father, because you're talking about beginning from somewhere there. Father, we know that some of the catechists started, some of the full-time catechists, and maybe that's what we should tell the person who sent us the message asking about the volunteer catechists. We should note here that some of the full-time catechists today, they started as volunteers. Yeah. So there has been that advancement. I don't know, briefly, can you tell us the procedure of advancement of catechists? What does it take for a catechist to move from one level to another level?
Well, I think once we talk of catechists, basically we are talking about full-time, because those are those whom the diocese knows as catechists per se. Those are catechists employed by the diocese, and the diocese is responsible for them. And once you come to part-time, it's a local arrangement, which means that Mr. Kum can be part-time in Moliko, and looking at the economic situation of Moliko, the Christians, the parish council and the parish priest says, Mr. Kum, we cannot give you 30,000 because of our level. However, can we negotiate? You are doing something else. We enjoy your services. We thank you. We have realized that it's your vocation. The way you do it, the way you accompany our children, the way you could, can we pay you as a token of appreciation? Can we give you 15,000? So that's why I say when we talk about catechists, the diocese knows full time, and the rest part time is an arrangement between the services that the catechist offers and the parish, which means that the diocese can give a minimum package of 41,500, and a parish, by the generosity of Christians, says no, our catechists should be able to live better, and they are able, for example, on Catechist Day, they are saying we have a target of 60,000 times 12, and on Catechist Day they give us that amount. So I just want to make sure that we don't mix up, and to realize that once you are voluntary, it means that you are offering your services with no right to remuneration, capital letter underline. Once you are part-time, there is a certain contract between you and the parish, not you and the diocese, which means that as a part-time, don't go and quote me policy telling me that you should have your self-registered in CMPS, you should have your this. We are at a level that a parish can handle.
So, Father, are we saying here that a part-time catechist can one day become a full-time catechist?
In fact, according to the reclassification that the bishop insisted on, we are going through first experience, going a level of formation and feedback from the parish pastors, to be able to say, this my person is recommended to be a full-time. Okay. And so that is why we are working.
Highly recommended to be
by the pastor in place.
And because time is running faster than us, we just have 10 minutes to be with our televiewers. I want to turn now to Catechist James Ifo. Catechist, among the catechists of the Diocese of BUEA, is there any mechanism that has been put in place for catechists to help catechists? Because that mechanism must exist.
Yes.
The first people to help themselves should be the catechists themselves.
Yeah, very correct. Yeah, very correct, Father. The first person to help themselves is the catechist. As Father said, we have our annual retreats, we have ordinary meetings, we have parish meetings, AGM, and all of that. And at different levels, we come together. We share our difficulties and chart the way forward. What can we do as a body to help each other? For example, in BUEA town, we are not many, but the two, three of us who come together. So, okay, every month from our dash, whatever you call it, this month we'll do this and you receive. You benefit. Next time I benefit. And that's one of the ways to, help ourselves before depending on the Christians and whatever is coming from. So that solidarity is always there. And if it's not happening,
camaraderie among catechists
yes.
should be there.
So if it's not happening in some parishes, we are making an encouragement to all of them that it is important to come together as a body. There must be the same language. Whether you are part-time, you are full-time, we are doing God's work. So we should be able to come together and put our little resources together. How can we help each other? It's very important.
And the full-time should also be able to encourage the part-time.
Of course. Yes. We encourage that, for example, go to JOPASIT.
Yeah.
Make time and go to JOPASIT. Pay the fees, do the 2 or 3 years, and you graduate. Definitely, as Father is saying, you'll be reclassified as full-time, and the story is different.
I think if BUEA is doing that, there is another parish that we must also appreciate the level of camaraderie existing among the catechists. I think it's All Saints Parish, Mutengene.
Okay.
I remember when I was there, the catechists, they used to have their meetings. They will meet, they have time to be together and have time to share. And it is something that other parishes must copy.
It's very
they
important.
Must copy.
Very, very important.
We are having the launching of our 75th anniversary tomorrow. And the theme, we come back to this theme, the theme that has been chosen by the steering committee of the 75th anniversary. Proclaim the good news, I am with you always. From Matthew chapter 28 verses 19 to 20. Catechist Kum, how can our catechists in BUEA appropriate the theme of the 75th anniversary? Proclaim the good news, I am with you always.
Well, in response to that particular question that you have asked, I want to say that first of all, as catechists, we must be able to go out there, meet the Christian, bring the word of God to them, even especially those who are in their homes that are sick, and then try to see that they too get to know about hear the word of God. And then every Christian should be on that agent of evangelization, trying to see that we preach the word of God to each other, not just by word but by action. Yeah, to see that we actually live out that faith. Like yesterday, I was having doctrine with some parents. I said, no, you don't need to tell somebody that you are a Christian. By your way of life, by the kind of things that you do, people will be able to tell others that no, this is a Christian because of the kind of things that you do. So proclaiming the word of God, we should be able to do it. Most especially by action. Like the Englishman say, action speak louder than words. So that preaching like that, it should go alongside with the kind of lifestyle that we actually live. So this year, since the launch is beginning tomorrow till next year, that they say we have the celebration proper. I mean, Christians of the diocese should be able to have maybe a change of lifestyle. What they say should be what they actually put into practice.
And not just Christians, but I think you should speaking to the catechists themselves. The catechists should be able to have a change of, because the gospel is for everybody. Yeah. We are evangelizers, but at the same time we are being evangelized.
Charity. So we are beginning with ourselves. That's the more reason why after tomorrow, on Friday, the catechist annual general meeting will hold in St. Charles Luanga Parish Molekwa, and thank God the bishop will be there. So we'll begin with ourselves, so that when we are going back to our parishes, we will know what we are actually going to go and do. And if tomorrow we are not living up to expectation, the Christians also should be able to draw attention that no, this thing like that, I mean, it is not being lived the way it is supposed to be.
Before we give the microphone to Father, the pastoral director, I want to find out from Catechist James Ifo. What are the things that you have been a catechist so long? What are some of the things that the catechists have been doing that they can do better? The things that they have not been doing that they should be doing.
Thank you, Father. You cannot give what you don't have. The first thing is that willingness to learn. You should be willing to learn. If you don't understand what to do, meet a parish priest or the curate, any person in the parish. Father, I don't understand this. How do you go? That willingness to learn. That's the first thing. And then you should be able to sacrifice things that because I'm a catechist, if I want to read a book, the parish to buy a book for me. I need a penny. No. You should help yourself first before when I'm asking for that you have to build yourself, inform yourself, what is expected of you as a catechist. And then more so, as a catechist, as Mr. Kumrali said, proclaiming the good news. It can be so eloquent, intelligent, but from your lifestyle, what you see every day in the community is a contradiction. Then it misses the point. So it is in living that it is good to say, hey, No. A catechist is a human like another human being, not an angel, but he's doing his or her best to live what to preach. That living is very important. That as a catechist, we should, find time to pray.
I think that's something that
Find time to pray.
Take seriously
to pray.
75 years of our diocese.
And it's not just be praying in church, but it begins from the home. As a Christian, you need to make time to have family prayers at home. When you tell the Christians to go and pray, whereas in your home, you don't pray. It's a contradiction. So Christians should see from your own home that they just come unannounced to visit, and they come, the whole family is praying. They say, hey, this is something serious. So we must make time to pray as a family and to pray as a catechist, because, we are not yet in heaven. We are all struggling to go to heaven. So you must find time to pray.
The catechist must be a man of prayer. A man of prayer. And you also insisted on the need for catechists to be able to make sacrifices. It reminded me of J.F. Kennedy, what he said to Americans at one point, that do not ask what the nation has done for you, but what you done. The question is, what can you do for the nation? So the catechists also should not be asking all the time, what has the church done for us? But what can I do for the church? Father, what special message for our catechists ahead of the assembly, the General Assembly with the bishop, and ahead of the 75th anniversary? You should be the right person to say something now to the catechists.
I think I will reiterate my message at the beginning. The first is that on behalf of all the other agents of evangelization, at the eve of the launching of the 75th anniversary of the transmission of faith, the first thing is that on all their behalf, I apologize for what has not gone well in our communion together. Two, I appreciate each one of them for their enormous sacrifices, from paying respect for our catechists who have gone ahead. And I cannot finish this without asking us for a moment of silence for all these great men who have done it. Eternal rest grant unto them, O Lord,
and let perpetual light shine upon them.
And for those who are still on the field, that never give up, and in relation to the team, BUEA Diocese, proclaim the good news, I am with you always. Let the catechists, if they have never been convinced, let them be convinced now than ever, that God is with them and is seeing them through.
And God is blessing
and
them.
is blessing them. And I just want to mention here that just count your blessings and see what the Lord has done for you. And lastly, to be able to say, all of us, we remember and are grateful to all the priest missionaries who brought the faith. We remember and are grateful to all the religious who sacrifice their lives daily for the spread of the gospel. We remember and are grateful to all the priests and deacons who have also contributed to the spread of this faith. And to all of us, Christ-lay faithful, that together as a family, let us support each other, let us support our catechists. Remember Hebrews 3:13. Every day, as long as this today lasts, keep encouraging one another.
Just to note that the catechists have been working very hard for the spread of the gospel in our diocese, and they will continue to do this work. We want to appreciate the panelists, the guests who made time to be with us. Sincerely, gentlemen, we are grateful to have all of you. Father, we are grateful. The pastoral director and chaplain of the catechists, we are grateful that you accepted to be with us this evening.
It's my pleasure.
Father Theophis Seka, and we also had with us tonight, Catechist Cletus Kum of St. Charles Luanga Parish. Catechist, we are happy to have you on the program.
Thank you, Father. I'm grateful. And as a servant of God, we're always available. Anytime that maybe our services are needed, we'll be ready to attend to it.
And while wishing you a very happy AGM on Friday, Catechist James A4, we are grateful that you also made it possible to be with us tonight.
Thank you very much, Father. It's a pleasure to be here. Anytime we are ready.
And we continue to sing the praises of our catechists, thinking of what they did years back when the Germans departed in 1915. The church in the Diocese of BUEA survived thanks to the efforts of a band of dedicated catechists led by Sango Matthias Efiem. And we wish that same spirit, that same dedication will continue to animate our catechists who are serving in the Diocese of Buea. And we remind you of the program tomorrow. Tomorrow's mass, the launching mass for the 75th anniversary, starts at exactly 9 a.m. at the Divine Mercy Co-Cathedral in Moliko. It will be solemnized by the Bishop of the Diocese of Buea. And tomorrow we will be having bread and wine procession that will be done by the heads of the different subcommittees of the steering committee. We shall also have tomorrow normal offertory and special thanksgiving that will be done deanery by deanery, the 7 deaneries of the diocese. And then after the post-communion prayer, we shall start saying officially the 75th anniversary prayer. That prayer will be made public tomorrow. It will be launched tomorrow. So we want to say we are grateful for all the actors who have been working to spread the gospel in the Diocese of Buea, and we pray that many more people should come on board. That was the package we put together for you tonight on your program, the 75th anniversary rundown on Divine Mercy Radio Television of the Diocese of Buea. I am Father Solomon Lyonga Ikundi. Stay tuned to DMR TV. Good night. Yeah.